everyone, and welcome back to the Bitch in My Brain podcast. My name is Josie. It is a pleasure to be with you this week once again because I am just feeling so much better, so much more like myself after releasing last week's episode. I felt like just by being honest with you guys, as well as being honest with myself, it gave me so much more freedom to come into this recording session, without an outline, without a specific topic. And I can just truly be myself in these episodes. So I woke up, I'm jazzed up, and I'm so grateful you're here to join me this week's episode. I hope it's got a little bit more pep than last week's episode, which was definitely, it wasn't like a downer or anything, but had a different tone, and I was happy to, acknowledge those emotions and deliver it that way. However, I am excited to be in a jazzed up mood and just excited to speak from the heart, and you guys are going to get an inside look at my stream of consciousness and, the behind the scenes that is happening inside of my brain, which you might enjoy. You might find entertainment in. So I will be your muse. But I came in and I was like, shit, okay, what are we going to talk about this week? We're keeping it casual. And I thought what you guys deserve most is to hear what I'm currently processing. And it's so funny because it's something that has come up in the last 2 weeks. And this is so funny because it's something so small that has completely just blown something up in my life, and it has to do with dyeing my hair. I have always been a blonde girly, since the moment I came out of the womb all the way up until 2 weeks ago. I did have a little bit of a blue hair stint in college, but it wasn't like a royal blue or anything obnoxious. My friend Haley, who's my trusted hairstylist, she did a fantastic job. So it wasn't too crazy. But yeah, I've always been super bright blonde, bleach on the head for the longest time. I wanted to be, Khaleesi in some ways because she was, she's an icon. So yeah, dyeing my hair this color a little bit more red, red in general, a lot of things came up for me. And what really kicked things off was after I dyed it, I kept getting compliments on it. And people would be like, wow, Josie, I love that color on you, or it's so fun, your hair looks great. And I love myself a good compliment. I am a words of affirmation kind of chick. I tell Sam all the time, I'm like, tell me I'm pretty and I'll do anything you want. But when people were commenting on my hair, it made me really uncomfortable. And I almost didn't know how to respond to these compliments. And what would come out would be like, yeah, I'm still getting used to it. Or, yeah, it's definitely darker. And, I would brush them off, or I would, try to get the convo out of the way quickly. And what I realized was how much of my identity I had in my blonde hair. I definitely put a lot of, weight on my hair color in relation to who I am as a person. And I was like, this is so, weird. And so obviously I had to dive a little bit deeper, and I realized that it's not just my hair. This relates back to my clothing and the jewelry I wear. And it was something that I'm like, this is such a shame that I put so much pressure around my appearance in connection with the person that I am or the person that I should be. And it's just like, it's not a way that I want to live. And so as I was, exploring a little bit deeper, I was able to kind of locate this time that probably these beliefs or, patterns really were embedded. And I want to say that it's, in elementary school. I think it was probably 5th grade or so. But I was a super big tomboy growing up. Like, I always wore soccer shorts. I always wore t-shirts. Like, that was, my identity was this sports chick soccer girl. And I remember one time my mom bought me a little skirt to wear. And I really liked the skirt. But I remember having so much anxiety around it because I was like, I can't wear this skirt because everyone will notice and think it's weird. Like, why is Josie in a skirt? She's supposed to be in, shorts and a t-shirt. And so I genuinely believed that I could not wear this because it wasn't in alignment with the sporty version of me. And, this carried in the rest of elementary school, into middle school, into high school. It wasn't until my junior year of high school where my fashion sense definitely began to I took a really big hit. And I was, one of my best friends, she was such a fashionista, still is today. I would raid her closet in a heartbeat if given the chance. Brie, send me anything that you might not wear anymore. I am open. But she was always, this fashionista. Same with the other girls in my group. Like, they, would wear a dress one day, a skirt the other day, leggings. Like, they just were able to wear whatever the hell they wanted. And I was kind of really envious of that because I truly believed that I could not wear girly things. It was against the rules for me. And then it was my junior year of high school, and this is a core fucking memory. It is a painful memory. It is something that I am still working through, but that's a part of the journey. So basically, I was standing in the hall. It was junior year, if I hadn't already said that. And I think it was right before chemistry class. And there, I was sitting with one of my good friends at the time, and there was this guy who was popular. I am not going to name drop him because I don't want to put him on blast, and what he did was pretty fucked up. But we were having some sort of conversation, and all of a sudden he was like, yeah, well, you dress like a insert, homophobic slur that starts with a D. I'm not going to put that, out into the world. So Google it if you're curious. But I remember hearing it and it rocking my world. Because I was in a pair of sweatpants and a t-shirt. And he said it with just it was so brutal. And I was already really self-conscious about the way I looked, my facial features and my body type, because, I was a lot smaller. I didn't have boobs. I had braces. I just looked very young. And so I was already insecure about that stuff. And then once he commented on the clothes I wore, it really, my entire world crumbled because I was I'm just this ugly, terrible dresser. None of the guys like me, blah, 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 blah. I went down a spiral. And I remember pretending to walk into class, and I just stepped outside of the door and I called my mom and I told her, and I was I have to go home. I can't, I'm in an emotionally fragile state where I'm about to snap. And I remember going home and looking at my closet and just being like so disappointed that I didn't have like any clothes to wear that weren't, soccer shorts or sweats or t-shirts. And, I had maybe 4 or 5 like Forever 21 shirts that were, pieces of shit, but that's all I had. And at that point, I kind of made a vow to myself that like I could no longer dress like that. And so I began to dress like everyone else. And it was so uncomfortable. Like the only times that I felt comfortable, like being in a dress or a skirt or, wearing like heels to school was when we'd have to like dress up for home games for like soccer. But other than that, like it was really uncomfortable for me. And I was just so not confident in the way I dressed, because by wearing those more girly things, it made me feel like an imposter, because I'm supposed to be this sporty girl. I'm supposed to be this tomboy. And being a tomboy was very valued growing up, because I had a older brother who, I was just absorbing all of the things that he thought were cool. I wanted to, be a part of, because that means I would be cool. And my mom also, she took a lot of pride in growing up as kind of this tomboy who liked to camp and, all of that. And so when I was wearing those girly clothes, it made me feel like an imposter, and that even with those new clothes, it's like, well, I'm still ugly, or I'm still, none of the boys like me, yada, yada, yada. And it wasn't until then, my junior year, the summer, I remember I kind of began to shift my style a little bit. I as well started to shift myself. And that's really when I became, I dove headfirst into my stoner identity, and my clothes definitely shifted alongside that. And that's when I was wearing, my 5-layer moccasins and my oversized t-shirts, and I used to think it was like stoner chic, and now I'm like, no, that was just like a grungy little outfits that you would wear. But looking back, I definitely, that the way that I dressed was in support of that new stoner identity that I was creating, or in some ways embracing. I think I definitely knew that that direction most felt like me. But, I think back and I'm like, well, were my clothes just a way to like root in that identity? And so, that was my style for a few years. And then my junior year of college, I think I started to really lose kind of like my fashion sense in a way. I just did air quotes for those that are just listening. But I basically ditched kind of my previous style, and I started just wearing basics and like only earth tones. I don't like any sort of wording or design. Like everything's black, white, green, or gray. And that was also because they always match. So at least you knew that like the outfit you picked out would at least look, cohesive. But as I started to really like settle into the basics, I truly did lose like my fun fashion sense. I used to wear like fun patterned pants, and I'd always have like a little bit of color or flair here and there. And I'm like, why did I make such a drastic shift from like these fun clothing to this like really basic sort of style? And I think it comes from a place of like safety, because I had a lot more of like a grounded idea of who I was during my stoner phase. And then as I kind of grew out of that, I don't think I really knew who I was from like a fashion sense sort of point of view. And basics allowed me to be really safe and to feel really safe, because if I wear basics, then people might not comment on my style, which at that time I was like, good, I don't necessarily want that attention. So I look at this situation, and there's aspects of it that I can honestly or obviously give grace to, but there is a sense of me or a part of me that, you know, thinks about the situation, and I'm like, what a shame it is to feel like I can't wear a certain shirt or a skirt or, you know, do my makeup or hair because that's not the person I am or should be. And, you know, it's sad that we hide and make ourselves small and avoid expressing ourselves based on the judgment of other people. And it's like, what can we actually lose by wearing a fun shirt or dyeing our hair a certain color? Like, we act like there's this huge risk wearing things. And in the grand scheme of things, it's like, no, there's no risk at all. If anything, there might be a reward where people are like, wow, I love that shirt. Where'd you get it? And you get to pass that on and, you know, move that energy to where that person's excited to go wear a fun shirt or to try something new. And so I kind of made this deal with myself that if I'm shopping or, you know, doing my makeup or my hair or anything like that, I'm like, why don't we have a little fun with this? Like, if I'm feeling jazzed up, why not put on the red lipstick? Or why not put on the blue eyeshadow? Why not put on the fun patterned shirt that, you know, has been in the back of your closet that you love, but you're like, no, I can't wear that, or it's not the right event, or, you know, I have to wait for this specific occasion. It's like, no, just go in. Like, if it lights you up, if it gets you excited, go fucking wear the shirt. Go put the makeup on and go have fun. Because ultimately, when we follow what lights us up, that's our authentic self. So if you may never wear eyeshadow, but if blue eyeshadow sparks a little light in you or gets you excited, that's your authentic self being like, hey, I kind of want to wear the blue eyeshadow today. Like, let's have a little bit of fun. Let's enjoy, you know, the human experience of being able to be creative and not feel like if we do that, we're abandoning some, you know, aspect of ourselves, because we're meant to expand. We are meant to try new things and have an adventure in our life. And that doesn't mean, you know, adventure isn't necessarily traveling or taking, a vacation or doing certain things. Adventure can be simple enough as like taking a little bit of risk with the blue eyeshadow or the red lip. Like, we're meant to have fun with these small things in life. And the more we have fun in those small areas, the culmination of everything, you're going to be living a fun, exciting life. Like, it's inevitable. I also understand that, especially us as women, you know, we are programmed at a young age to put a lot of value on our appearance. And we carry that through every, you know, aspect and different stage in our lives. And that's so rooted, or roped up in rather, our fear of judgment from other people. And I'm coming from a place, or kind of coming to this place, where if I have people around me that will judge what I'm wearing from a negative place and are, critical of that, we don't need those types of people in our lives. And I think about this around like dating and meeting, dating. We're so like, we put so much pressure on wearing the perfect outfit. And I'm speaking from what I've heard from my friends. I have obviously not been on the dating scene because Sam and I have been together since we were, 17, 18. But there's so much pressure we put in looking so great on a date. And I'm, in full support of you dressing and doing your makeup in a way that feels confident. But if a guy is like, yeah, I don't like girls who dress like that, or is like, oh, the color of your hair, blah, 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 blah. That's not a guy that you want to be associated with. Like, if they have any commentary on the way you dress or the way you look, then ditch them. Unless it's like positive or maybe it's like, friendly feedback if an outfit doesn't look good. But if you feel as though you can't wear a certain thing around your partner or your friends, that's an indication that A, you're playing small, you're not being authentic. And you're also not surrounding yourself by people who truly want to see you shine and step into the best version of yourself that's able to express themselves in creative ways. And so the biggest aspect, and you guys know I put a lot of weight on authenticity, but if we start to kind of release this grip we have on needing to fit our appearance to who we think we should be or who we think we are, there's so many possibilities and opportunities we have to enjoy life. And we only have, it's like that YOLO. You only live once, so wear the fucking patterned shirt, or in some ways put your nipples out. Like my mom's always like, your nipples are always out. I'm not a bra girl. I don't like a bra. But I'm like, so what? Who cares if my nipples are out? And if anything, I kind of like that look. So I'm like, yeah, I'll wear my, nipples out. And I try not to do it around my grandparents, or I made the mistake of doing it around my cousin and his friends. Not my cousin as in he was the weird one, but I have to be selective in some situations, but that doesn't come from a place of inauthenticity. That comes from a place of, I don't want to make my grandma uncomfortable. But when you're able to just like embrace what you like and not give a shit, that's where that true freedom comes from. And that's when we really get to enjoy our lives and be human. And there's so many fun things that are out in the world that we can use to express ourselves, and they deserve to be expressed. Like, you deserve to be your most authentic self, however that looks, whether it's the way you speak or write or dress or live. It doesn't matter. Like, there's so much freaking freedom. So, like, I might have already said this. I don't know. You guys are getting, my straight stream of consciousness. But I'm really going to challenge myself when, if I go shopping or on social media. Like, if I see a shirt that lights me up, then I'm meant to get that shirt. If I, start to make excuses like, well, I need... like, it's not me, or I, have to have a specific place to wear this. It's like, no, if it makes me feel good, if I get like that little hint of inspiration, then that's the shirt I need to buy. Not the, one t-shirt and buy it in 5 different colors, black, white, green, gray, whatever it is. And so I'm really challenging myself to take that opportunity to have a little fun and get out of my comfort zone. And, a few times when I do my makeup, like maybe let's bring back the winged eyeliner on me. That used to be like my staple. Or yeah, have a little fun with eyeshadow. Put a little bit too much blush on. Like whatever is calling me in that moment, I am going to act on. And the bitch in my brain, you know, will probably have some commentary, will probably be like, oh my God, that looks awful. You can't do that. Don't go. But opening up that conversation and being like, I get the reason why you don't want me to wear this shirt. You know, you're trying to protect me from embarrassment or judgment. But, and I, you know, can understand that. However, let's have a little bit of fun. We're safe. The clothing that we wear, the makeup that we have on is not this risky thing where I'm gonna, you know, die because of it. So it's like, let's, you know, kind of blend the two together and acknowledge, yes, you know, this is programming that I'm needing to rewire, but we might as well have, yeah, some fucking fun while we do it. So yeah, that's kind of what is coming up for me, something I'm working on. I have been kind of coached a little bit the last 2 weeks around it. So we'll see what else comes up, or, you know, if I decide to take this in a different direction, or, you know, what's coming up for me, because I'm sure that a few of you guys might resonate with this. So yeah, I'll keep you updated. In the meantime, wear the skirt, wear the lipstick, do your thing, because at least you'll know that I am not going to judge you and you are safe with me. And I feel safe with you, and, you know, that's that connection point, and that's how we feel good. So I will see you guys next week. I hope the rest of this week is wonderful. And yeah, I will see you next time. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this episode spoke to you, and I can't wait to continue to share so much more. If you're feeling called, please subscribe and leave a review so together we can reach even more women who deserve to live their best life. And you can follow me on social at The Bitch in My Brain as I share my journey and life in real time. I can't wait to see you bitches next week. Take care.